Hi, welcome everybody to the Township of Sparta Environmental Commission meeting of Thursday, December 11th, 2025. The meeting is called to order at 7:03. This is our last meeting in 2025. We are live in the council chambers at the municipal building and also on YouTube /at Sparta TWP /streams. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 10th, 2025 by delivering to the press and posting on the township website a copy of this notice. First item on the agenda is salute to the flag. If everybody would please join me. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Emily, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Margie Murphy,
Here.
Chair Kimberly Knoll,
Here.
Vice Chair Neil Sauerwein,
Here.
Christine Dunbar,
Here.
Ted Gall, Christine Rogers,
Here.
Barbara Kazalka, Robert Otto,
Here.
Student Liaison Nicholas DePrato. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. Everybody, Emily is moving to a new role in January officially, or at the end of December?
Possibly Monday.
Oh,
Yeah.
real soon. Okay.
It keeps changing, so.
All right. And Courtney's going to be our new secretary. So welcome, Courtney.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Yay. All right. Approval of minutes, November 13th, 2025. So that's our last meeting that we had since the fourth Thursday in November was Thanksgiving and we were not here.
I have two minor corrections. On page 2, paragraph on the bottom. In the sentence that says, when phase 1 of this project required surveyors to go near residents' properties to lay, it right now says our boundaries and it should say out. And then on the bottom of that paragraph, phase 1 trail segment will not be near any homes. Just missing the word be.
Any other changes? All right, do I have a motion to accept the minutes with those two minor changes? So second page, last paragraph, replacing the word are with out and adding the word be in the second to last sentence. Or maybe it's the last sentence. No, second to last sentence.
So move.
Thank you, Christine. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Margie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, we are catching up with minutes. So this is May 9th of 2024. Is this the last of 2024 or close to it?
That's the last, excluding the two that I don't have any.
We don't have a
recordings on
recording?
or- but
Okay.
yes, so this would catch us up.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Did anybody have any changes to the May 9th of 2024 minutes?
I mean, if there was super minor. Christine Rogers, page 2, apostrophe after the S.
Not before.
What? So,
No, I like it. We should use the right punctuation.
I'm just, Yeah. Gotta find something.
All right, any others? You found another one, Rob?
No, I was gonna make a motion to
Okay,
accept
go
with the
ahead.
minor change.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to accept with that minor change.
Okay, do I
Oh,
have a
I
second?
found one more.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I believe this is, it would be to, page 3, and it's the, sort of the middle of page 3, and it's that I stated on Saturday there will be an invasive species removal day. That should be not Bear Creek, but Blair.
Oh,
Blair Creek. Thank you.
All right, Rob, you want to restate your motion?
I'll make a motion to accept with those two minor changes.
A second?
Thank you, Christine. Thanks, Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. And one abstention. All right, thank you. All right, tonight we have Dylan Medici. Okay, good. Protecting the Highlands, and you're from the New Jersey Highlands Coalition. Right. It's easier if you want to use one of these mics, if you want to sit down, or you could even stand and use that mic. Okay, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah. Do we want to go down there so that we can actually
Okay.
see?
I think so.
That's what we usually do.
Yeah.
Yes, on. It is not on. Let's see. I cannot control it yet. Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's you recording? Okay.
It looks like I can, oh, there we go. Perfect. All right, there, that's perfect. Nice. It's good when technology works.
Yes.
All right, so my name is Dylan Medici. I am the Director of Outreach and Education at the New Jersey Highlands Coalition. We are a nonprofit based in Boonton. Actually, we just moved our office from one side of Boonton to another. So we're actually now at the historic Maxfield's Firehouse, which we just completed our move-in just this month. So we've been in Boonton for, I don't know, for longer than I've been here, probably about a decade at this point. And just make sure I don't go over time. About how long should I be up here? All right, 20 minutes, because I can go a lot longer than 20 minutes.
20 to 30.
Okay, perfect. All right,
People have taken it off that stand before.
okay.
Yeah, we're comfortable that way.
I think this is okay. So the New Jersey Highlands Coalition is part of this really 4-state geophysical province of the Appalachian Mountains. And the Highlands, as the name suggests, are a little bit higher than the rest of New Jersey. The geophysical region itself starts somewhere around Reading, Pennsylvania, and sometimes it's called the Reading Prong. And it's significant in that it's mostly a metamorphic rock region of the Appalachian Mountains. It starts in southeastern PA, runs through New Jersey, through New York, through Connecticut. A lot of people, if they're active hikers, probably are familiar with the Hudson Highlands of southern New York, but not so familiar with the New Jersey Highlands. And actually, the rocks of the Highlands and the northeastern part of the United States share similar geography with the Highlands of Scotland and parts of Norway. It's some of the oldest geology in the world. They actually predate the supercontinent Pangaea, which is the supercontinent where most of the dinosaurs existed on, and survived that breakup. So they're quite old. It actually includes most of northwestern New Jersey, but it doesn't include this far northwestern part of New Jersey, which is the area around the Delaware River. That is the Ridge and Valley region, which is part of the Appalachians, but not part of the Highlands themselves. So if you look at this geologic cross-section map of New Jersey, northern New Jersey is this huge rainbow of different types of rocks. And if you look at southern New Jersey, by comparison, it's like 3 different colors because that's all the Atlantic coastal plain region. Up here, it is very, I'm going to put this back. It's better up here. It is very differentiated by different types of rocks that have been formed over the immense pressure and time and folding of northern New Jersey's geology. And that's really what makes it unique. We'll get a little bit into that a little bit later. But politically, the Highlands are also important because they are protected by an act of the state legislature because they provide the majority of New Jersey's population with drinking water. So this map here shows water supplied throughout northern New Jersey by the Highlands. This, yeah,
I just
that
want
might
to
be
make sure
better.
you're comfortable. Make yourself more comfortable.
But no, I don't have anything to put the mouse on. Well, you see this dark blue region, that's the highlands themselves, and it's kind of silly to think that an area provides its own water supply, but in most of New Jersey, that's actually not the case. So we see, I don't know if I can move my mouse. You see up here, the area where Newark and Jersey City are, that area is all blue, and that indicates they get above 95% of their water from over here because they own together about a dozen reservoirs up in the highlands. Because the water at the Passaic is terribly, terribly polluted, and it has been terribly polluted since the Industrial Revolution. So around the time of the 1900s, Newark's water was so bad that it had a reputation as some of the worst and unhealthiest water in America at that time. So they went to the hinterlands of the highlands, which was still relatively forested. At that point, it wasn't as forested as it is today because most of the forests had been cut down throughout the 1800s to power New Jersey's numerous forges and furnaces for the iron industry. But Newark came out here because the water at the mouth of the Passaic was just terribly polluted. People were dying left and right of cholera and other waterborne illnesses. So they came up here, they purchased a bunch of land, and they built a number of reservoirs to provide their water. And they provide a bulk of that water to surrounding towns. So it's not just Newark that is getting its water from the highlands, it's the communities around Newark. Down here, you also get a lot of water because a lot of the headwaters of northern New Jersey, like the Raritan, the Wallkill, the Musconetcong, tributaries of the Delaware, pretty much all of the tributaries of the Passaic, they all start in this region up here and they flow downhill as water tends to do. So even down here in South Jersey, you see that they get a portion of their water from the highlands because that portion of the waters, the Delaware runs right down there. And we have tributaries of the Delaware like the Pequest that begin up on the highlands in the northern part of the state. So New Jersey today has a population of about 10 million people, and about 7 million, particularly those who live up in the northern part of the state, get their water from, in some places, up here in Sparta. Sparta's parts of it border Lake Hopatcong, and Lake Hopatcong is the headwaters for the Musconetcong, so you see a lot of water supplied to the western part of the state as well. The highlands themselves as a political region, not a geophysical region, when it was designated as as part of the Highlands Act, which was passed in 2004, the Highlands region comprises 88 municipalities in 7 counties. So that's Sussex, Warren, Morris, Passaic, Bergen, Hunterdon, and Somerset. And really, Morris and Warren have the largest proportions that are in the Highlands. And if you look at a map, a good approximate eastern border of the Highlands is that Interstate 287. And 78 is kind of almost a southern border, if you want to think of it approximately like that. So a little bit of a history lesson. The Highlands themselves, prior to the arrival of Europeans, were home to the indigenous Lenape people, and it was collectively, along with New York, known as the Lenapehoking, which is the land of the Lenape. And today, some of the Lenape still live up in the Ramapo Mountains of New York. But getting up into the 17th century, European settlers started settling away from the shore regions and the easily accessed regions. And so they moved up into the New Jersey Highlands, and they found that the area was very rich in resources, not just game and fish because of its numerous waters and mountains, but also iron. And iron is what fueled the early industrial industry in New Jersey. There are about 500 iron mines or iron workings in northern New Jersey, almost entirely centered in the Highlands, and those mines continue up into New York. And we ran into a little bit of trouble with the remains of those mines when one of them collapsed and shut down both directions of Interstate 80 for about half a year, which made it an absolute mess. And that mine was actually, or that collapse was actually linked to this mine here, which is the Hibernia mine in Rockaway, which was the most extensive and most productive mine in northeastern America up until the iron industry started leaving New Jersey and going out towards the Midwest where iron was cheaper. So this mine in particular, provided a significant number of cannonballs and arms and tools that were used in the Revolution and Civil War. And there are also mines up in Sparta that provided some of that material as well. This is actually Newfoundland, but this up here is part of the Edison mine, which was active in Sparta, where Thomas Edison pioneered a new type of iron extraction process, which, while it didn't work out too well for him economically, wound up to spurring a pretty significant cement industry. But like I said, the Highlands are significant on a state level because even though the region itself by area is only about 17% of New Jersey's total land area, it provides drinking water for about 70% of its population. And between New Jersey and New York, more people visit the New York and New Jersey Highlands than about the number of visitors that visit Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Grand Canyon National Parks each year combined. That's people who are coming out to hike, to fish, to kayak, to hunt. And a lot of those people aren't necessarily coming from very far away. They're people that live here and visit this place because it's a lot easier to visit a place when it's right in your backyard rather than having to travel 1,000 miles to get there. So it's got an outstanding number of natural resources. It's got a huge diversity of forests. Even Sparta, if you walk like maybe 5 miles, you might be going through half a dozen different types of forests. There could be oak forests, it can be maple forests. There are even some Rocky Summit oak heath type forests up on some of the higher areas. And so it has a real high diversity. And it also is home to the the largest contiguous mature forest in New Jersey outside of the Pinelands. And for these reasons, the integrity of its forest, the immense natural beauty, and the number of natural resources, but especially the water supply, the Highlands were protected by a bipartisan act of the New Jersey legislature in 2004, which established this Highlands Act. So in 2004, they passed the act. They formed a Highlands Council in 2006, or actually, sorry, I'll get into that in a minute. But they formed a Highlands Council, and by 2008, they produced a regional master plan. Now, the New Jersey Highlands Coalition originally was part of the New Jersey Conservation Foundation. It was formed in 1988 to advocate specifically for the passage of this act. And in 2006, after the act was passed, we spun off into our own nonprofit, and we've been that way ever since. So what the Highlands Act really does is it designates towns that are included. It splits them into kind of these two different types of areas, whether it could be a planning area where they have to essentially, adhere to a very few core rules of the Highlands Regional Master Plan, or a preservation area where towns have to conform to the Regional Master Plan. I want to make a distinction here that preservation does not mean protection. So things can still be developed in the preservation area. Protection does not mean that it's protected from impacts like development or things like that. Towns can also choose to conform their planning area to the regional master plan, which makes it very similar to acting as the preservation area. And Sparta is a town that has, it's about 50-50 split between the preservation and the planning area. Like I said, in the preservation area, specifically municipal zoning has to conform to the master plan. But the planning area in Sparta is not conformed. So, I mean, aside from, having to make sure that more water is not being extracted than is available in the area, the regional master plan has very little, influence over in the planning areas compared to the preservation area. Sparta also has a significant amount of preserved areas. So those are things like, municipal, county, nonprofit owned lands, farmlands, and water, wildlife management areas, and a significant amount of scenic resources. Sparta also has some very high quality forests that, although they're not old growth forests, they're mature forests, still provide a huge benefit to providing water, both in terms of quality and quantity. So this is kind of just some technical definitions of Sparta's natural resources. Sparta's split up into 13 sub-watersheds. Most of them are pretty high-quality watersheds because Sparta has some pretty high-quality forests. And having high-quality water depends on having high-quality forests. But even though the water is fairly high quality, Sparta definitely still has a net water availability deficit, which means that the sub-watersheds in Sparta are consuming more water than is available. And what we're seeing, especially in the last few weeks, with New Jersey declaring a drought warning, is that even areas that have high-quality forests and lots of water resources might not necessarily have a lot of water. But Sparta is in many ways better than most towns because of the limited amount of development in the town. So this is just a map of Sparta's sub-watersheds. So we see on the right, that is the net water availability in Sparta's various sub-watersheds. And you can see that most of the area is in a net water availability deficit, even though that water is fairly high quality. So there's good water, but there's not a lot of it. And then we can compare the watershed quality directly to forest integrity. So in areas that have high forest integrity, we see are directly correlated to having high water quality. So the Highlands Act in some areas in the preservation area do limit development to make sure that New Jersey still has a sustainable water supply source. And we see that even though those areas are preserved, they're not necessarily protected. So we still see a number of inappropriate developments that impact water quality in those preserved areas and also in the planning area where the rules are less strict compared to the regional master plan. So what we do as a coalition is we are, at our heart, a grassroots advocacy organization. We're active in all of the 88 municipalities in the Highlands, and we try to limit inappropriate development in those areas, make sure that the state adheres to the regional master plan, both at the state level and at the county and municipal levels. Because New Jersey is a home rule state where towns are more or less free to come up with their own ordinances and land use. It can still be very difficult to make sure that that land use adheres to the regional master plan because even today, 20 years after the act, there is still not a very good awareness of what the Highlands Act is. And we are fueled by our member organizations. We have 120 member organizations who work with us, on a variety of issues, whether it's at the municipal level or at the state level. At least 2 of those are active in Sparta, Sparta Responsible Development and New Jersey Forest Watch are members of ours who we work with to make sure that we continue to have good water quality and we preserve our natural resources. And we're able to really punch above our weight with that help because we are a small organization. We're only 6 full-time staff plus an events planner who is part-time. So we really rely on people who are active in communities to let us know what's going on. And we are very fortunate to have some active membership. And these are some of our members and people we work closely with. So a number of those are active in Sparta today. So I am open to any questions that folks have.
One of the things you mentioned was that Sparta's currently not. Can you explain how we would become?
The best way to do that would be to actually reach out to the Highlands Council, which is the DEP agency. We're the nonprofit advocacy organization, and we've actually existed first. So if you're going to, make complaints that we stole their name, no, they actually stole our name. But you would reach out to the executive director of the Highlands Council, which is Ben Spinelli, and you would ask how the town can conform and what benefits conformance would bring you. So one thing that we see in New Jersey is that development pressure does not decrease over time. It only becomes more and more desirable to develop in New Jersey. It becomes more expensive to develop in New Jersey. So we're seeing a lot of times developments are being proposed in places where they're not appropriate. So we get flack a lot of times because, people claim that the New Jersey Highlands Coalition is anti-development, which is not the case. We are anti-inappropriate development. So when those developments occur in wetland areas, and the Highlands has stricter wetlands regulations than the rest of the state because of its importance to the water supply. So we are anti, inappropriate development in wetlands, in water supply areas, in high integrity forest areas, and especially in Warren County, we are very much against development on active farmland. Because what you see is, you've got two interstates running through basically straight from the port of Newark in New York, straight west into the rest of the country. And it's really easy to get those goods out and put them somewhere that's nice and already pretty flat. And farmland is really the go-to site to be developed. And if you develop farmland, you've permanently destroyed that farmland. You can't go back from there. So we try to limit development in areas that are already developed or areas that are compatible with, development. So conforming with the regional master plan would basically make the planning area very similar to the preservation area. So that would bring protections against expanding impervious surface coverage in forest areas. It would bring with it some benefits to developing in wetlands. So in the preservation area, vernal pools are considered wetlands, which have their own buffers. So preservation is generally pretty good. Yeah, so if Sparta wanted to conform, they would have to pass that as a resolution at the town council level. So they would have to, obviously, they would work with the town council. They would almost certainly be required to pass a water use and conservation management plan. Their, town master plan would have to conform to the Highlands Regional Master Plan. And a few other things. There might be other requirements depending on the other resources that Sparta has. There might be a lakeshed water management plan or something like that. But we've seen, at least in the Lake Hopatcong area, Sparta and Hopatcong are the two last towns that have not conformed their planning area. Every other town in Hopatcong has conformed at this point, and it brings a lot of benefits with it in that towns that have conformed get funding from the Highlands Council for all the costs of plan implementation. And the council is, I wish they were better funded because it provides a lot of funding to towns for costs that are very difficult to get, through, town councils. And it's becoming more and more competitive these days because of the lack of funding through the Highlands Council. So they're choosing to, in a lot of cases, to only fund projects in towns that are conformed. So, of course, I would strongly recommend that Sparta would, pursue that line of thought if it makes sense for them. We've seen, I don't know what the specific number is, but I'm pretty sure we've seen at least a dozen towns conform over the course of 2025. It's been really miraculous to see towns that you never would have thought seen conforming 10 years ago conform. Just off the top of my head, Roxbury has conformed this year. Mount Arlington has conformed. Jefferson has conformed. I think by the end of the year, well, actually, no, they're not going to meet this month, but probably by January, both Mendhams will have conformed. And there's only 88 towns, so there's only so much conformance that you can do.
What is the funding that the coalition or the council provides?
It has to be, it's restricted to implementation of the regional master plan. So think things like lakeshed studies, recreation plans, branding plans, things like that. Things for for zoning, you would get more specific information from that, the Highlands Council specific things from the Highlands Council's website. this would be a good time to explore conformance, because if you were to revise the master plan and then want to do conformance, then you might have to wind up doing another master plan. And the Highlands Council, you know, if you were considering plan conformance, they might pay for possibly the costs of the master plan. It depends on how much has to, how many studies have to be done to explore, you know, how far off the master plan is from conformance. And in some towns, you know, some, you know, environmentally minded towns, you know, the master plan winds up being pretty close to what is expected for conformance. I haven't seen Sparta's master plan, so I really couldn't tell you specifics.
Dylan, what would you say, that at an environmental commission level or township level, other than conformance, that Sparta best aligned with the Highlands Coalition or the work that you're doing?
Well, for the Highlands Coalition's mission, we really rely on towns to reach out to us, to work with us if they find projects that concern them in their town. So we are very much a grassroots advocacy organization. We rely on people who are active at the grassroots level to come to us if they have questions. I mean, you could also go to the Highlands Council for more regional master plan focused questions. But at the EC level, I would say really just having a good relationship with the Highlands Council. I don't know if you've had Ben Spinelli come to speak at your town council to see if conformance makes sense for you, but that's a good first step for the council perspective of things. For the coalition perspective of things, what we do as a nonprofit, it's just, you know, keeping in touch with us, letting us know if we can be active in your community. I think last year we've already attended the Sparta Earth Day event, and I'm looking forward to coming back again once you've decided next year. I don't know, I saw it on the agenda, so there might be a date set. But we really just like being active in the community and learning what's happening here, because there are 88 municipalities in the Highlands, and it can be very difficult to keep an eye on all of them at once.
Is there a way to get a copy of that?
The presentation? Sure. Let me know what your email is. I guess write down a piece of paper and I can send it to you. I can absolutely send it. Well, I've already sent it to Christine, so maybe Christine wants to share it. Okay. And of course, we are happy to always have a conversation about how to interpret the regional master plan, because there is a liaison at the Highlands Council for Sparta. I think it might be Allison Bittner, which you can reach out to for technical questions, but there are also you know, things that the council might not be able to weigh in on because they are a DEP agency.
You said 70% of the water of New Jersey comes from the Highlands.
I'd say that drinking water for 70% of the state's population comes from the Highlands. Yes, so,
It's not just this county, it's the entire state.
yeah, so it's the 70% of New Jersey's entire population gets some or all of its drinking water from the Highlands. And that could be, you know, whether they get it directly from a reservoir, or it could just be a constituent of what they drink from. So for like the Delaware River, you have water being fed into the Delaware River from the Highlands from tributaries that start up here.
I've been glancing at headlines lately about Sparta wildlife management area being restored. Do you know anything about this project? Because, and you know what that involves?
I don't, it depends on what you mean by restored. So Sparta Mountain has been the subject of logging every year by not by the Division of Fish and Wildlife, but the Division of Fish and Wildlife has written a forest stewardship plan that includes logging somewhere between 10 and 20 acres every year. And they contract that out to companies that might be from New York or Canada or wherever they come from, who bid on a contract to carry out the logging. So we have been very active against logging on Sparta Mountain and anywhere really on public land in New Jersey, because it goes against the purpose of the regional master plan, and we would argue that it should not be allowed on the regional master plan, since a disturbance of 10 acres or more would be considered a major development according to the master plan. That's 10 acres of essentially complete forest destruction. So we have been active with the New Jersey Forest Watch for I don't know how many years, certainly longer than I've been here, trying to urge Fish and Wildlife to not do that. And they are not required to respond to public comments when they develop a forest stewardship plan. It's not a statutory requirement. They're not required to give notice of it. They're not required to accept comments for it, although in the past they have, as a courtesy, allowed us to submit public comments. And we have found that they are not conducive to having a conversation about, stopping logging on Sparta Mountain. And they are actually in the process of developing another 10-year plan right now for 2027 to 2037, which we are, again, extremely against. But DEP is really its own organization. They're not required to accept any comments on it. And they certainly, since they manage it and it is not under the jurisdiction of Sparta as a municipality, they are not required to respond to any comments by the town either.
I had people texting, asking if you could give the mic to people asking questions so they
Oh,
can hear.
sure.
Because it's being live streamed.
Actually, I don't know how far this is going to reach, so maybe you should come up and.
Thank you.
As far as Christine's question about restoration, I think they're calling this logging habitat restoration, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's called habitat restoration. You'll also find it called by a lot of different names: early successional habitat creation, habitat manipulation, restoration. It's really just all different names for the same thing. They're logging it. They call it a seed tree harvest or whatever they want to call it, but it's essentially a clear cut. They'll leave, trees spaced every so often as seed trees to donate seed bank to what's going to grow back later. But what we see in New Jersey especially is that the forest doesn't grow back the same way as it did before because of the influence of invasive species and because of the overabundance in deer. And we are working with the New Jersey Conservation Foundation to try and find a strategy to effectively manage New Jersey's overabundant deer population. But it's very difficult because currently, the New Jersey uses hunters as a management technique, which hunting is not really supposed to be used for management. It's a sport. And I can tell you, having gone out hunting this week, is that when you're looking for the deer, you never find them, especially in the forest. They're mostly all crowded around the suburbs. So New Jersey has a big deer problem. And what we're seeing happen on Sparta Mountain every time they log is what grows back is not what was there before. You want to?
So I think that we had explored conformance, and there was like different options. We would go with Highlands or the state, and there was some like 30% holdback to determine conformance from the promised funds. Do you know anything about that or how it would work?
I do not. That would be more of a specific question to the Highlands Council. The conformance is a process, and I've seen towns conform, and I'm not really familiar with the process that happens between the resolution to conform and the acceptance of the petition at the Highlands Council and whatever happens eventually at a later date when they're completely conformed. But if you have any questions, you can contact me. My email is dylan@njhighlandscoalition.org. That is DYLAN. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Dylan. That was very informative. I've heard some of those before, but really helpful. And we will get a copy of that, just repeating some of the things we already said for the folks that are out there on the internet. So yeah, if we get a copy of that presentation distributed to everybody, that'd be great too. And then we can include it with the minutes. Okay, next item, we have no applications tonight and we have no correspondence, so we're opening up to public comment. Did anybody from the public want to speak tonight? Just come on up to the mic.
Should we turn it around?
Oh, it's too far.
Oh, it's too here.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Emily.
Hello. Oh my gosh, that's weird. Hi, my name is Lena Olette. I am the AmeriCorps New Jersey Watershed Ambassador for this term. For anyone who's not familiar with the program, AmeriCorps is a federal program and they give some funds to the DEP. And the main thing that I'm here to do in the community is lead environmental projects and presentations on watershed education. I know that the council or the commission has worked with some ambassadors in the past, but for anybody listening, that's a little bit more about the program and you can look it up online and see more. But yeah, I am looking to do environmental education presentations within the community. So they can be watershed education in general or any environmental issue that leads back to water. And additionally, I am seeking environmental projects to do that would overall benefit the Wallkill watershed. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Welcome.
I had gone to the council meeting because we have a farm outside of, at the edge of Sparta. And,
I'm sorry, can you share your name, please?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm Marjorie Castell, and I live at 353 North Church Road in Sparta. And my neighbor has been dumping truckloads of dirt. And, well, I don't really know, it's all kinds of debris. I don't really know what's in the soil or anything. So I went to the council meeting on the 25th of last month. And they, the engineer from the town has just gotten back to me. So they're starting to get active, but I don't know anything about like when they, if they should test the soil and the soil is dangerous. Like how do I find out if they're or will they be responsible to clean up this matter?
They who? You mean the owners of the farm?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
We do have a dirty dirt soil ordinance that was passed 3 or 4 years ago. That was based on just the problem that you're talking about. There was a site up in Vernon that for approximately 10 years, they had the same thing happening. And so based on Vernon's experience, this Sparta then said, we also need a dirt ordinance like that. And so that ordinance says that you're supposed to test the dirt before you allow it to be dumped on your property or have proof that it was tested. So the Environmental Commission, though, we're not the enforcement branch of the municipality or the township of Sparta. So we're an advisory board. So I can't really speak to this particular case.
okay. So it's 809 West Mountain Road is the address. So the dirty dirt, is there like, I have the, like, will they be notifying me? Will, like, I don't understand how to find out because they just keep, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if you have, if they have to notify you what's happening if it's not your property that's having the issue with it. I'm not sure.
But if I border that, if I'm next to that property and I have 2 wells on my property,
You can certainly test your own wells.
I have tested my wells. But that was before they were dumping and everything like that, and before it started to rain again. But I do have the test from when it was clean.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So we don't really know when they'll be getting back to me.
No, we're not part of the enforcement part of Sparta Township. We're an advisory board.
Okay.
So
If you're advisory, then where is she going?
advisory to the township, we're not advisory to the community necessarily. Personally, like I would get my own lawyer, but I can't say that that's what you should do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Margie. I just, I know if the engineer got back to you and if you reach out to the town and communicate with them, that would be your best plan of action.
Okay, that would, like, I guess the town engineer has to do with this dirty dirt.
That I'm not sure.
Okay,
The town has to follow the ordinances
Yes.
that are established. So that resolution regarding the dirty dirt ordinance, you can look it up online and see what it says exactly.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, Rick Finkel up in Hayward Road. I'm personal friends with Margie and her husband, so I just wanted to sort of fill in a couple gaps there. I think she just wants to really bring it to your attention as the Environmental Commission. She's already brought it to the town council. Some of the problem is the engineer has been aware of this for months now, and really no action has been taken. And through some of my advice, I told her to go to the town council, go to the zoning board, go to the Environmental Commission. You saw Tap Into Sparta just write a big article on this just yesterday. It's not just whether the quality of dirt is good, there's erosion issues, there's wetlands issues, there's other concerns, environmental concerns that you should be aware of, even if you're not an enforcement agency. I don't know what the process is for your committee to bring it forward and say, hey, we don't have enforcement, but there's some activity that we're concerned with from an environmental perspective, and maybe you could take that and run with it, right? So I just want to sort of back up Margie and Tom and fill in some gaps.
I would just say that I was at the last town council meeting, and it sounds like town council, the governing body, is aware of the issue, and the town engineer is working on it. And so again, we're advisory. So I would just use the professional engineer.
Yeah, I think there's a big gap, Rob. The code enforcement person has been gone for several months now.
Yep.
And there seems to be a gap that this falls into where no one is owning that responsibility, even though there's a position open. So there's potentially known issues or violations that no one's really tracking and going after. And I know that doesn't fall on you, but like I said, there's been people aware of this for over a year. There's really been no activity until it really got brought to the public in the last couple of weeks. And luckily Jennifer Derricks is involved, so she'll keep it public, so. All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And yes, thank you, Margie, for coming to town council because we were not aware.
No one
And if
else?
you can keep coming to the town council and finding out and asking questions. Okay? And contact the town. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Moving on to reports. Margie, would you like to give a report on town council?
Well, we have been, our meetings we've had a couple we haven't had either. So I guess what mostly is the fact that the cannabis has not passed. That was, we are not going to have cannabis stores. And pretty much that is it for right now until we've got a new town council member and until the beginning of the year.
Okay,
That's about it that's going on now.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Rob, do you want to give update on the planning board?
Well, Margie, I just want to, 25-21, you guys voted to amend Chapter 18, the land management code, just in regards to stormwater. So I thought that was notable. That was good. Some common sense changes. I think those came from the state and the federal government, just to basically bring us into conformance with climate change. So that was good to see. Just has to do with like stormwater infiltration and impervious cover and reduction of flooding. But planning board, I was gonna say, Christine, you're the liaison, right? So, but you weren't there.
No,
But
no, and although I did listen
yeah,
to the meeting.
yeah, and you had some comments. I just wanted to, because someone had asked me, you were made the liaison when for planning board?
Right.
Do you remember?
I do remember that very distinctly.
2023? Okay. Well, anyway,
Yes, I remember. I am the liaison to our planning board.
thanks.
Yes.
So you had some comments. The last meeting, we didn't have any applications. We're trying to fine tune end of year minutes. Minor site plan is trying to kind of align our minutes with planning board minutes, which now show a better reflection of who was there, what was discussed, and how votes went. So that's kind of been an effort, but we're getting there. And then, yeah, the other stuff was just discussion about our professionals, which I don't really feel like we need to. It was a little bit surprising.
It was over the top.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Enough said. Thank you.
All right, we no longer have a Trails Committee liaison, so Neil, do you want to give Master Subcommittee? Master
Yes.
Plan Subcommittee? Sorry.
Master Plan Subcommittee met on this past Monday. I was unfortunately unable to attend, but it was mostly internal business that was discussed, although the,
Mike.
okay, sorry, it wasn't lighting up. Yeah, I missed the Master Plan Subcommittee meeting on Monday. But we will be presenting, or they will be presenting the stakeholder meetings data at the planning board meeting on 12/17, which is this
Next
coming
week.
Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
next Wednesday.
I go to this is Christine Dunbar. I go to the Trails Committee meetings, and I was there for half of the meeting last night. And what we were trying to accomplish at that meeting was to discuss how we can better communicate with Sparta residents when we are planning trails. That was part of the topic. I wanted just to bring that forward. So we are working on that. And also, since we have now 2 new trail signs for the Glen, we're in the process of deciding where we're going to install them. And there is the idea that perhaps some way, since we've had so many of the middle schoolers in Sparta help the Glen by planting trees on Arbor Day and throughout the years, we thought we could perhaps provide them with an opportunity to help us with the installation of the signs, where they should go, and maybe couple that around sometime in the spring with an event where the students would maybe lead a hike from trail sign to trail sign, maybe invite their families to come. This is where we put this trail sign. At Yonkers Landing is one of the locations. And then maybe hike the Blue Trail down to the Glen, or vice versa, to the other sign. They also could perhaps come up with other things in terms of maintenance of the trail. Maybe the trail blazes could be done over again. Or anything that the green team teacher at the middle school feels like she would like to engage her students with relating to the Glen would be really welcome.
Thank you, Christine.
That's it. You're
Thank
welcome.
All right, I didn't miss anybody, did I? Okay. All right, unfinished business, Earth Day 2022. Christine Rogers.
So we're looking at hosting an Earth Day event on Saturday, the 25th of April. But we're just waiting for final confirmation from the town that we have all the permissions in place before we can move forward. But I did speak to the ecology teacher at the high school the last time I saw him, and did just mention the idea of incorporating students into Earth Day, and he was really into the idea. So that could be a good connection to incorporate students in our event as well.
And remind folks, we're going to try to do it here.
Yeah, we're going to try to do it right here at the municipal building out front on the lawn area on the Saturday after Earth Day is the tentative date right now, April 25th.
And do you have a tentative timeline, like time? 10 to
So
2 or?
yeah, I don't know the timeline yet, but we're trying to coordinate with the Lake Mohawk Preservation Foundation. They typically do a cleanup in the morning, so we would like people to participate in that and then come a mile down the road and then participate in our Earth Day event as well.
Okay.
All right. Christine Dunbar, you want to talk about the Salt Watch?
Yes, thank you. It's that time again when we need to take care of our 5 watersheds. We are really blessed here because we have, of course, the Wallkill, which is the majority or the largest watershed. About over 40% of the surface area drains into the Wallkill River. And then we have the Pollenskill. But then we also have a little portion of the Pequest, and we have a little portion of the Passaic, and we have a little portion of the Musconetcong. So this is a big responsibility because we're the headwaters. So whatever we do to our water here is going to travel downstream. And the Salt Watch is a program that really tries to keep track of the amount of salt concentration in our surface waters. Because salt, it really does not, it doesn't disappear when you throw it onto the streets and the roads. It goes into the soil, and then it infiltrates down into our aquifer. And we have been dumping thousands of tons, and that has been increasing since 1947. And that is just going down into our soil, into our water. And this is not to say that we don't need to keep our roads safe. We do. But we want to be able to identify a problem in areas if they emerge. If if we see a trend upward in terms of salt concentration, particularly when we do something called the baseline salt watch, if we see that our groundwater is accumulating the salt, this can lead to only one thing, and that is that, the water would become contaminated and unhealthy and contaminated. I know for myself, I went out, I think it was 2 days ago, I went over to across the street and I sampled And this was a location, I won't mention the name, but it was at the edge of a parking lot, a very large parking lot, kind of sloping downhill, leads into, down towards our 181, down into the economic development zone area. Economic development zone area. Anyway, it was 242 parts per million, and this is above water quality standards, and we've just started the winter season. So, so I think that sort of our goal is to, through time, through winters, to monitor before and after they throw down the salt, and to keep track of the concentration level through time in as many locations as we possibly can in our 5 watersheds. So the program now is open, and I would encourage everyone to look outside of their home, see if they have a pond, a creek, a stream that they value, and then order free test strips. And we have the information that will be posted, I'm thinking, on the website. And you can contact us, and we will look at your area, look at your stream or your creek, see if it's safe for you to enter it and to sample, and show you the procedure. There's this very simple procedure. It takes about 10 minutes in order to get your results from your test strips, and to send that information off to the Watershed Institute, which evaluates it at the end of the season for everyone. Yeah. So that's our Sparta Salt Watch, and we will be posting the information on our website, how to register for it, and we have sites that we feel need to be covered. We've been doing this now for a few years.
Yeah, I think this is our 4th year.
Yeah, our 4th year. So we're starting to get a good body of data built up at certain sites that we can refer to.
On
So
your
I'll-
list there, Christine, is it the red ones that you need, or the blue ones still need folks to monitor?
Well, I've updated the chart because a couple of people have registered. And so the ones that are highlighted in yellow are sites that will be monitored. We have people who are dedicated to doing that. The blue is, I think I have somebody to monitor those. And then there's 11 that still need to be monitored.
The ones that aren't highlighted are
not
the
Are
ones you
not
need.
highlighted are ones, yeah. And this is not an exclusive list.
Right.
There, I noticed right now that there are a couple of sites that creeks that drain into Lake Mohawk. And those would be really good to, to catch those on the western shore or the eastern shore, just to see the impact there through
For
the winter.
example, like that come off of Alpine or that come down into
They come,
the coves, like Turtle Cove or Three Finger Cove, do you know?
I'm not that familiar, but I
Oh.
know that Neil, you were monitoring a creek, but it didn't stay flowing for very long,
Yes,
did it?
It hasn't, in the last year or so, it's hardly ever flowing. That's the Bisers Pond
Oh,
stream.
because it's been so low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no flow there.
Yeah.
Some of these that you have as not being monitored are ones that I do.
Right, but I didn't know that. Okay, so that leads me to the QR code. This
Okay.
is an incredible challenge to organize. I don't know if you've noticed as I'm bumbling up here.
Okay.
So if I send this to you, there's a QR code and there is a Google form you can fill out, and you can list your sites
Okay.
or your site.
Well, I
And then
listed
I'll
them
get
'cause
it on
they're
my
your
Excel
list.
sheet. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I thought, but I didn't want to presume anything, so I
Okay.
didn't yellow highlight it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll do that.
So that
you so
QR
much.
code will be on the township website along with the information that's going to be going up. Is that correct?
I'm
Emily?
ho-
This will be on the on the website.
Oh, yeah, I'll post it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just have to get.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I've been doing these. If somebody else really wants to do them, they can do them and I'll find more, but I'm just saying.
Right, so we don't know. I mean, this is for the whole community,
Right.
you know,
get
to
involved.
participate.
Right.
And if it would help, because that's the big thing I think too, is that you don't really know, well, should I do this one, or am I supposed to be doing this pond? So we want to be able to help people make that decision. But they have to have an offering. They have to know what is available. So, I mean, actually, I mean, there's some close into town, but actually, we could just publish this whole entire chart, unhighlighted, and see if we get any takers. How's that?
And we could also identify new sites, of course, right?
Yes, that's the whole thing, is that you have a creek, you love it, you know, like the people out at Balanced Rock, they were monitoring those for a while, the Balanced Rock Creek. And I think they still will do that. You know, they love that creek, you know, they love their pond, they love the river that they fish in, you know, and they want to make sure it's staying healthy. And the only way we can do that is if we continually monitor through time, because we want to catch, if there's a problem, we want to catch it early.
Can I ask you if these are just creeks, or could it be like water that is coming from, it's not necessarily a creek, but there's like certain that they've actually eroded into a creek, but like water that comes down off of Alpine that flows into like Mohawk. It's not necessarily, I guess it has become over a year because it always comes down that one particular way. Is that something in it, and like any water that comes off, like that goes into the different coves?
Yeah, I'm so glad you're asking. What we're trying to catch water that is, has been potentially, after road salting, exposed to the road salting procedure. So let's say you have a bridge going over a creek. You would want, you know that they're going to salt heavy on that bridge, right? So what you would do is you would sample just downstream of that flow, maybe a day or two after they salted. And if you could catch it before also, so you do 2 samplings before and after the storm, you know, that would be great. Or if you have a parking lot you have a parking lot that flows downhill, that's a downhill parking lot, and everything seems to flow into a body of water or
water.
creek, you know, that you would
Okay.
want to get that creek, you would want to get that lake there.
Okay. Great.
And I have been doing lakes. Like I did Seneca Lake, I've done
Sparta.
Sparta Lake,
Yeah.
Lake Saginaw. So yeah.
Because I think this list came from the fall monitoring, right? Where they were really prioritizing the streams. But this list isn't exhaustive of what we were doing last winter, right?
That's a good point. When we had a baseline salt watch because we wanted to see how much salt was in the groundwater. So we looked at several sites and we selected them for Sparta. But
Okay, that makes sense. That's
but
why
this
everything
is-
that I've tested isn't on the list. Got it. Okay.
but we still have that data from,
Yeah,
you know, 2024. Yeah.
So
Okay.
What does this list and what are the highlights mean?
So this is the list from what we did in the fall,
In the
the
fall.
October
Just the
sampling.
fall.
So some of the sites were repetitive and are the same as we monitored last winter. But some are also different because of how that baseline sampling they wanted done. They really wanted to prioritize smaller streams, not lakes as much, but for our regular monitoring work we can do We can do lakes, we can do ponds, we can do streams. And I guess to this chart, 2 of the sites I did in the fall were that SP04 and SP05 that by the track and behind the bus depot. I think those I wouldn't prioritize. I prioritize the 4 of my sites that I thought were the most impacted by road salt. So it was those first 3, number 6, and then I think if you were highlighting number 8 for me, I was going to do number 7.
Okay. And you wouldn't
But I think-
prioritize 8?
I would not. Well, we can do no 8 could be okay, but I don't think. I think 4 and 5. I'd cross out unless we have a lot of takers because these are further away from the road. They would be less impacted by salt.
Yeah.
I have tried to get to that stream by the high school.
Hard to get
It's
to.
hard to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost killed myself. Well, not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for test strips. I ordered them a week or 2 ago.
Mine came yesterday.
Okay.
I ordered December 1st.
Oh,
I
yes.
was a late orderer also, but they came.
Okay. I should be seeing mine soon then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
haven't
I-
gotten mine either, but if we do have storms in the meantime, before you get your strips, I did go out, not this past storm, but the first storm we got, and collected samples at a couple of my sites, and I just am storing them because you can collect the sample. It doesn't get impacted. You just clean the bottle 3 times, any kind of container, and then collect the sample, and then when your strips come in, you can test it then.
Okay. Yeah, good. Then because I had taken some baseline samples from the spot that's by the Lake Mohawk Country Club parking lot. It's a little bit downstream from there. I took the samples, but I didn't have any strips, so
Yeah.
I think I still have them. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it wouldn't degrade. You
No.
can, yeah, you
No,
just,
salt,
yeah,
salt.
yeah.
Right. So I think all I would do is probably just, if it settles, right, you just kind of like mix it up before you test it to make sure everything's incorporated, but it can stay. And then the one other thing, I don't know, Chris, you were going to mention about the January 30th date.
Yeah, I put it, I don't know that you got a chance to read my email, but when we monitored the salt, the surface salt from the effect of the road salt applications in winter, we're testing really the impact of the road salting process itself, right? But if we do a snapshot of perennial streams that run year-round in a time where there hasn't been a lot of precipitation in particular, and this is kind of, it's kind of guesswork, but we have to select a date. And this year's date is the 30th of January, to actually see what is coming out of the groundwater on that day. So I think there would be things that could probably complicate that quite a bit. I mean, if you had a huge storm and they had been salting, it would be, you wouldn't get a good idea of what is in the groundwater. It would be relating to the surface, applications.
But
Still,
yeah.
but still you would have a snapshot in time,
So
actually.
similar to what we did in the fall, except it's going to be.
Right. And I actually don't know if the winter snapshot is as essential for the groundwater snapshot as a snapshot of the entire region on the same day, so that we're getting data closer in time in a lot of different sites. Because our baseline sampling, we were really focused on groundwater and not having the impact of precipitation.
Right.
But we had that full 2-week span. So everyone's collecting at different times and in different conditions. So this would be like a regional study at a point in time. So they're asking everyone who's going to participate to also participate on January 30th, whether or not we get a storm that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
so-
another question, because I've done this wrong in past years. So, well, not, I don't know about wrong, but not exactly optimized, let's call it that. So Friday's going to be nice, Saturday rain, Sunday rain, Monday no precipitation. So should I try to do my sites Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Like in all those days?
So it usually spikes either when they're applying salt to the road, so during a storm, or when it's icing,
Okay.
or it spikes when it's melting. Right?
Okay.
So when we have snow piled up and then it starts to melt because
Right.
there is road salt in the snow. Right?
So
That
what
is
would be the
accumulated.
best
So if
times
it's
to
going
go?
to only, I don't know how warm it's going to be, but if it's going to be rain and not sleet or freezing rain,
Uh-huh.
then I wouldn't sample then because that actually dilutes the sample because it's just liquid water.
Okay.
So I personally would try to go as close to a storm when it's safe after they've been salting or when we have extreme melting conditions. That's ideal. But then we also, like Christine said earlier, we want to get some data in conditions that are nice as well. So you could collect it on a sunny day. It doesn't need to be consecutive. You could work around your schedule. We just want everyone to be safe, but we want to get as much good data as we can.
Okay.
I think I need to reread the procedure because I was originally trained by the Musconetcong Watershed Association about 4 years ago. And they told me, as soon as you anticipate the trucks going out to salt, go get your sample. Because you want to compare that with a couple of days after when it started melting, after it's been thrown in. So I personally need, clarification on that because they do change the procedure and directions from time to time. But I noticed when you go on to the site to register and get your strips, they do have a link to procedure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll try to review that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about this. When you get a storm and say it's significant and they put down a lot of salt and it stays cold, you're not going to see elevated chlorine levels in the water until it actually does melt, right? Which could be days or weeks later. How does that?
The advisement used to be up to 72 hours afterwards. But I see what you're
Right.
saying because the salt would still be locked into the snow.
Right.
So that, then again, we need to just look at the procedure and just follow it. And when you fill out, when you submit your data, they will ask you that question. And that's something that they discuss when they have the summary at the end of the season. They, they will ask you, is it within 48 hours? Is it within 72 hours? And remember, what they are doing is they are also looking at the weather conditions during this discussion. So they'll know what was happening at your spot, particular spot, South Jersey, North Jersey, wherever. So we can only follow the procedure and leave it up to them to help explain by looking at the weather situation at that time, I guess.
Okay, sure.
I had a question about just a bigger picture question about like chloride products. Have we talked about the different products and the different groups that are salting? Like, I just recently heard this, and I don't know if you knew this but that Sparta uses magnesium chloride, and the state uses a lot of sodium chloride, I think. And then there's calcium chloride. So my understanding, I think magnesium chloride can be toxic to aquatic life, but it also requires less of it at colder temperatures, and the state is pretty aggressive with their salting. So just thought I'd throw that out there because we're not testing for the magnesium, the sodium, or the calcium. We're just, the chloride is.
What I gleaned from the Stroud Research evaluation seminar after the baseline is that magnesium chloride, because there are two chlorides attached to the one magnesium, because magnesium +2 and chloride -1, you have the two chlorides. So that is more damaging to use magnesium chloride, but it's more effective at lower temperatures. And whether or not it's used instead of the sodium chloride just because it's more effective, I don't know.
That's what the town manager just had said recently that I heard. So I thought it was interesting because it was in regards to kind of concrete curbs, I think, and kind of, aprons and stuff that had been replaced. But if they're on state roads, the state is super aggressive with throwing down. And so that would suggest that, I get your point, the two chlorides attach the magnesium versus one. But if the practical result is that on state roads they're using so much to compensate, and it's not as effective at the colder temperatures, it was just, I was just curious if we had drilled down that specifically to magnesium based chloride versus sodium versus calcium. But
What does the state use?
I think the state is using just like sodium chloride, right? Probably.
Well, I have seen the states
Calcium
throwing rock salt out, but I've also seen on 517 where they've been doing brining. And that is the #1 recommendation of the Stroud Research Center, of the Watershed Institute. The brining is so important. And I don't know how much we do in our community. But it's the whole thing is that private contractors, towns, state, federal, they all have their programs. But what I want them to do is follow best management practices. I
So-
want us all to be following the specific recommendations that will make us safe as possible, but cause the less damage to our water supply and our wildlife and our undercarriages and our plants. So I am not convinced we're all on the same page with this. In fact, when I see the different types of application, I know that we're not on the same page. But
So I guess I'm just curious, like, we have this citizen science program, it's been long running. Have we had that discussion? We have a salt shed now, like a brand new salt shed. Maybe this is something where we could have a discussion and say, here are the best management practices. This is what we should recommend. And, obviously use up what we have and then, proceed, hey, let's do this instead.
yes, Rob, you're right. We need to revisit this issue now. More data
Okay.
is in information. And it's not only what type of salt we use and how much. All of that, it comes into the technology of it, because if we can save thousands, well, tens of thousands of dollars if we have trucks that have the latest technology on them, because they get the forecast coming in, they get the temperature of the surface, they get the ambient air temperature, their unloading system doesn't jerk and dump at right where there's a storm drain. There's all of these new technologies, and the trucks are worth an investment. I mean, you can't completely, 17 trucks can't be replaced overnight, but we can slowly upgrade them through time. And that's an investment in our water and our environment that we love. And I think we need to make that.
So, I mean, I guess I think we should have a section maybe, or think about having a section where we have a general runoff section, because we know we're surrounded by all these bodies of water. We're looking at chloride, but there's also the fertilizer use, there are these other runoff, soil sediment concerns. So, I don't know, just
It's
putting
just-
it out
it's
there
just-
as like
I'm
it's
just
end of year.
focused
What
on
could we do?
salt.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
you
No,
can-
I know.
You could,
It's salt is a great proxy for just general runoff issues, right? So I'm just saying,
there is a correlation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not causation, but
no,
correlation.
but you can measure salt. It's harder to measure TDS, with settling and how would you? But anyway,
Thank you
So-
so much. I'm sorry to take up so much time.
No problem. Several years ago, and I agree, we should revisit this. We did write a formal memo regarding, this is when the salt shed was getting built, a formal memo about best practices and what the town could do. So it is out there, and I know that Jim did read it and did get a copy of it. But it's a good idea to revisit that.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on the Salt Watch? All right, 2026 meeting schedule. So we've had, since our last meeting, I guess that's been about a month, to digest the meeting schedule. I didn't come up with any additional changes. So if we're happy with that, should we go ahead and vote on it? And I didn't see another copy here. There was only one meeting for November and December, just like we did this year. But I think that was the only 2 months that were interfering with holidays or whatever.
I think one of the meeting days fell on Rosh Hashanah, but I didn't know, we had that like
Yeah.
in the air, and then there was,
But isn't Rosh Hashanah a multiple day holiday? And I
Right,
think it
that's
was
why.
right in the middle.
yeah, exactly, and then there
Yeah.
was something else in September.
So, okay. So I think we should go ahead and formally approve it so that it can get published with all the other notifications that have to go out in
Oh,
January.
yeah, so speaking of that, so,
Okay.
town council meets January 6th. Our first one for environmental is scheduled for January 8th.
Mhm.
So we might not have enough time to do the 48-hour notice. So I don't know if we should,
Why does our town council has to approve our meeting
Yeah.
dates? I don't remember that
no,
from
I've
the
been told, I
past.
have no idea.
Okay. Okay. So we'll approve it and then we'll leave that in the hands of the town clerk to figure out. Okay.
Find out.
So do I have a motion to approve the meeting schedule for 2026?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Rob. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. All right, moving on to new business, League of Municipalities Luncheon. Neil, you attended and represented us?
This was actually, it's the Sustainable Jersey Luncheon.
Oh, I'm
not the
sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Municipalities Luncheon.
At the
Sorry,
League
but,
of Municipalities.
I would think we need to make that distinction.
Understood.
Yeah. Yes, I went to the luncheon and met Margie there. I got there just in time. So I hit a lot of traffic on the way down, and I wasn't able to attend any of the sessions that were Sustainable Jersey specific because I had to get back. But it was well attended. There were a lot of awards, and I wanted to note that. I think that the town that got the gold, was there a gold star? They're changing everything around. I'll get to that later. But it was Hillsborough that had 1,000 points.
Wow.
How they got all those points.
Wow.
And there was another town that was like under 1,000 people that got 1,000 points as well.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
there,
Can't
yeah.
remember which one that was.
I can't either. I'd never heard of the town,
Yeah.
but
Well, they're probably all
Really tiny.
carpooling.
the town was so,
The town is one farm.
500 points right there.
One farm.
there's
that
less
does-
than 1,000 citizens. And they got
a
gold. I'm
commune.
like,
Wow, okay. Goals. Hashtag goals. We'll just have-
yeah. Mm.
So anything, well, we got the bronze award
Yes.
and you went and received that for
Yes.
us. Thank you, Margie and Neil.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's so awesome. Yeah. So they're not going to have that this next year.
Well, okay, I'll get to that now. I attended, there was a meeting, a Zoom session, I believe it was yesterday, on the program, the 2026 program refresh. Now, they're pausing to do things like revamp the website, which I think they're spending $400,000 on just the website. They're also working on streamlining the process, making documentation less onerous, and things like repetitive documentation for recertification that we have to do that takes up, our staff's time. They're working on making that less onerous. But we can continue to work on 2026 actions. And if they end up getting changed or dropped for 2027, they'll still be grandfathered in, so that if we achieve any goals that are for 2026 in the coming year, they'll still be good.
Okay, great. And the press release was drafted,
Yes, it was published.
published. Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. All right. Newton beat us to it, though. I saw they,
Yes,
they
they
Yeah.
did.
sorry.
They didn't have a
Okay.
picture, though.
No, and we have a great.
We have good pictures.
All right. Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. There's something that wasn't on the agenda, but we do have a couple announcements to make. So Ted, I think not everybody was here last meeting, but Ted will be resigning. I think his term is up and he's not renewing, actually not resigning. So his term is up and he's not renewing after, I don't know, I think maybe
How many years?
20 plus years serving on the Environmental Commission. So thank you, Ted, for all your service. Sorry you're not here tonight.
Yes.
Thanks,
I
Ted.
did want to give him that certificate, but, well, we'll catch him. We'll catch him sometime.
Okay.
We'll see. The other announcement that I have is that I'm not renewing either. I was elected to the Board of Education, and unfortunately, while I would want to stay, the meetings are the exact same night.
Oh, no.
So I can't do anything about that. I'm not yet able to duplicate myself and be in two places at
Really?
the same time. So once I have that magical superpower, I'll be back. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the last 3 years being chairperson here, and I hope someday you'll want me back if I'm not on Board of Ed anymore, or they change the day that they're meeting
Ah.
or something.
Yeah, you'll
Absolutely.
be missed. You
will
really
be
will.
missed.
But good luck on
Thank
the
you.
school board. Yeah, another adventure.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
adventure.
Thanks for stepping up for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim.
So I did let Neil know, the Mayor Neil know, that I'm not renewing, and so we do need a chairperson. And we do need more members. So if you have friends or want to talk amongst yourselves, the reorg meeting is January 8th.
January 6th.
January 8th
Here,
for us.
8th, yes.
6th for you.
6th
Yeah.
for me. 8th.
And Emily's leaving also.
Yes.
Thank you, Emily, for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
One of the best secretaries we've had, I think. Yeah,
It
Courtney.
means a lot. It was,
We'll
really
see. No,
wonderful
just-
working with all of you too. It was great. But I'm still in the town, so
Yeah.
come
Yep,
visit me,
thank
email
goodness.
me, same email. So
We'll see you around.
Well, I certainly have learned an incredible amount this year. Thank you all for all what you have taught me and what I can take elsewhere, trying to just catch up with anything. But thank you and all the best to you. And welcome to you. So,
Is this our last meeting
This year.
yeah,
this year? Oh, that's right, we'd be meeting on Christmas,
Christmas,
wouldn't we?
That's why we didn't have November's meeting, because
Like
otherwise we would have been
14th, that's
meeting on
right, yeah.
Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, this year's been a really good year. We've done so many neat things. And a big thank you to Christine Rogers for all of the speakers we've had. They've been so excellent. The community has not taken advantage like I would wish that they would. And for next year, maybe we could put our heads together and try to get the word out. I mean, Dylan, we've had so many people on preservation of land. We had AmeriCorps speaker. We had the Sussex County Municipal Utilities Authority recycler here, Dawn, right? And we've just had so many great meetings that I know our residents would have loved to be here and learn more. If we could just find a way to get them here.
I mean, I know that our YouTube channel gets a lot of views. So I do think that is so helpful to have
And tap
live
into-
streaming and recording happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. So much, I mean, we don't get a lot at town council either, except for then occasionally. But
But I would also agree with you, Christine, that like if there are other speakers or suggestions that folks in the community have that they want to bring forth, love to hear some. And there's definitely some, work efforts that I know that we're still working on that I hope you guys will continue, like our deer management plan. And we still
Tree.
have to get the
Tree
resolution for the Forest Watch completed. We still have our forest tree ordinance to pass, so I'll be watching from afar and then come and support you.
okay.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I wanted to mention one more thing.
Sorry, Neil.
Sorry, I forgot. The Climate Superfund Act will be heard in the Senate Budget Committee on Monday, 12th, this coming Monday.
Is
Just in case.
anybody going? Does anybody want to go down there? I don't want to go by myself, but I want to go down there.
You want to go?
I want to go.
Let me think about it, Christine. I
Think about
don't know
it,
what I have.
because we don't know what time it's going to be heard. I mean, if it's going to be heard early, that'd be harder for me, I think, or, I want to miss traffic.
Yeah,
It's going to
I
be
know.
very cold, but what I want to
When
do
is
is,
it?
I want to go to the hearing, but before then, I want to go into the hallways there, and I want to find our assembly people, Fantasia and Ingemont,
Ingemort,
and
he's from Sparta, you know.
I did not know that.
Born in, yeah.
And I want to talk to Parker Space, and I just want to just present my case for that, because
That's-
it's, so it would benefit us up here, not just the coastal areas, benefit.
And are you looking for somebody to ride with you?
I am.
Okay. I might have some people who would want to ride with you. Is it okay if I share your cell number
Please
to reach
do,
out? Okay.
please do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like to go. I'll confirm that
important.
with you.
It's the last hurrah
I know,
of the lame duck,
I know.
you know?
The more people that could be there, the better. That'd be great.
Yeah. I also wanted to, I came across something that this Saturday, they're having the tree lighting over at the VFW, well, the tree lighting here, celebration. It's also to benefit Ronald McDonald House. There's the Army-Navy game, but it's also the tree lighting at 6:30. So if anybody can attend. Also, I met a gentleman, I went to the Newton Women's Club luncheon for the pantry. I was honored to be able to go there. And there was a gentleman that came in that says he is collecting Pop-Tops off of cans, any kind of can, soda can, beer can, juice can, that the actual top is a 100% aluminum, and he collects them because the rest of the can is not, and it can get bacteria and get contaminated when it gets recycled. But the aluminum tops he collects, takes to Ronald McDonald House down in South Jersey, and they then get money. They give it to whoever melts it down, and it helps fund them.
Wow, okay.
I never knew any
I
from
didn't know
dip-
about this either.
I didn't either. So he gave me his number and he said, so there's some restaurants and some clubs that he picks up from. So anybody that wants to save there, we don't go through a lot of pop tops in our house, but household restaurants, whatever, that's actually 100% aluminum and it's worth quite a bit of money and it helps because there's only one Ronald McDonald House in New Jersey left. So, and if you want to reach out, I have this gentleman's name. So he would be happy to come and collect it, or we can collect it at a certain place.
Okay.
We could put a bin out here and put pop tops in it.
I'm expecting your car's gonna be food pantry and pop tops. No. Yeah.
Car is full of boxes and food and all the time. But yes, isn't that something?
Yep.
Who would
I
have
did
thought?
not know. The
Yeah.
more you know.
It's 100% aluminum. So that's all I have.
Good stuff.
All right. Any other meeting or any topics? Sorry. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, Neil. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Thanks, Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Wish everybody a happy holiday. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone.
Still gonna do my salt watch.
I got to get some strips.
Just go to
Now
the.
I know.
I
Do
got
you
my
have,
strips. I just haven't done it yet.
do you have another one of those?